Hello everyone, welcome back for another reading of the Hyrule Historia. And we are going to continue with the Hero's Decline story. Timing branch, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to continue with the era of Light and Dark. And this is Link's Awakening. The game revolving around this is Link's Awakening. A raging storm besets Link. Adventure with a fleeting dream. Link was in the midst of journeying back to Hyrule by boat after finishing his training. During the voyage, he was caught up in a storm and sank his ship. Upon regaining consciousness, Link found that he has washed ashore on an island called so many words I don't know how to pronounce because I've only seen them in text. Let's go for it. Koholint. Let's go with that. The Mysterious Island. Link was rescued by a girl named Marin, who lived in the island. She woke up in a house belonging to Terran, where the two made their home. Though Link attempted to leave the island, citizens insisted that there was nothing beyond the ocean. You know what? That's something I want to read because I'm not very far in Link's Awakening. I played enough of it to become my favorite Zelda game, but I got it on the 3DS eShop a while ago. And I'm up to level 6 right now, basically. But, yeah, I want to know, because especially there's two kids in front of the library by the main village, who never thought of what's beyond the ocean, and it's really interesting. I hope this book explains that. Koholint Island, an island with abundant natural areas surrounded by ocean. The large egg sitting atop the island is the tallest mountain in Koholint's most noble characteristic. And I also wouldn't mind knowing what's in there either. Of course, I hate the spoilers, but what are you gonna do? Marin and Terran. Residents of it's Mabe Village, right? Mabe Village on Koholint Island. Similar characters also appear in Holodrum and in Hyrule during the era of the Hero Time. Terran and Marin may be the product of Link's memories of Malon and her father Terran of Lon Lon Ranch. Yeah, they basically are. I remember I was mentioned before that they're people who clearly look at the Mario and Luigi reference. Speaking of which, I should have noticed before. Of course, this book's not explaining it because it's only about Zelda. But something that always interested me about the Zelda and Mario franchise was they're both very linked to each other. Linked. Of course, they're both Miyamoto creations, but other Miyamoto games aren't that connected as Link and Zelda. They had a share of enemies they traded together. In Mario Galaxy, they don't call them it, but the Elect Dumas, I think they're called, are clearly Octoroks. And in The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening especially, there's Chain Chomps in that game, Goombas, Piranha Plants. Not to mention, Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time, then Zelda 64, were being developed around the same time. And I heard, and when Zelda 1 they were making the dungeon thing for the disc system, Miyamoto was working on a Super Mario Bros. Compilation. There's always something about Mario and Link that just come together. In Mario 3D Land, actually, I was having a nerdgasm then. I was playing one of the levels. I think it was one of the regular levels, and there was this one star coin. I had to be a fire. I had to get the fire flower for. So I collected it, and I go into this room, and I lit all four of the things, and it played, and it opened the door. It was so cool. It played the Zelda chime. You know, when you get the item. I hope that did that right. And it was so cool. It was very, very cool. To have that, it was just a little detail, but it just was really cool, and it made a lot of sense. Attempting to escape from the island, the mysterious owl appeared before Link and informed him that the only way to escape the island was to awaken the windfish. As he collected the instruments of the sirens, Link uncovered a shocking truth. The world in which he had found himself existed within the windfish's dream, and waking the windfish would never cause the island to disappear. It would cause the island to disappear in a stream of bubbles. The demons had attacked Link in order to preserve themselves and the existence of their island, so it never existed. Wow. The owl. An owl that frequently appears before Link, guiding him on his journey. It's actually a manifestation of the windfish's consciousness. That's amazing. The instruments of the sirens. There are 8 instruments in all: the full moon cello, the conch horn, the sea lily's bell, the surf harp, the wind maramba, the choral triangle, and the organ of evening calm, and the thunder drum. They are each located a different part of the island and guarded by a demon. The windfish. Haunted by nightmares, the spirit continues to sleep. Its outer appearance resembles a whale. Colvin's island vanishes. Link successfully gathers the instruments of the sirens, standing before the egg in which the windfish slept. The hero was forced to make a bitter decision. The only traces of Colin Island's existence now remain in Link's memories, and the awakened wingfish. Link's awakened. Came to pass was also responsible for. Oh, wait. Sorry. The only traces of Colin. Blah, 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 blah. Though Link and the hero had once rescued Hyrule, it had come to pass that he was also responsible for the annihilation of the Dream World. He set the sail on another voyage, and further whereabouts are unknown. It's amazing. We are now in the Golden Era, revolving around the adventure of Link. Isn't that Zelda 2? Huh. So Zelda 2 happened before Zelda 1, according to the timeline. I didn't know that. I always thought it was Zelda 2 ended it all. The prosperity of Hyrule. Ever since the crushing defeat of the Demon King Ganon, each successive generation of Hylian kings used the Triforce of power, wisdom, and courage passed on the royal family to preserve order in the land. Those who wielded the Triforce were required to possess the unique characteristic of having been born with a heart free from wickedness. The rulers used the power of the Triforce to help the kingdom expand and flourish. The power of the Triforce. The Triforce itself does not judge good and evil. Because of this, the following characteristics are sought from its users: a righteous heart and the mettle to wield the power of the gods. That's interesting, and it does make a lot of sense. Really, with anything, that's what it really is all about. Life, really, the way I see it. It's when you have something, or you have to use something that's very powerful, or if you have, like, let's say you have a lot of responsibilities in your job or school or whatever. What you do is you can't judge good and evil. If the world can truly judge good and evil, there wouldn't be evil or wouldn't be good. That's why they always coexist together. And yeah, it's a good metaphor. The Triforce is a great metaphor for that. It just judges who has a righteous heart. It doesn't mean good or evil. And it's all about having certain characteristics. All about how your responsibility and how you use your abilities and talents. It's interesting. The magic of the great king of Hyrule. One great king of Hyrule who had put the Triforce of power to use was concerned that it might be abused after his death. In order to prevent this, he hid the Triforce of Courage, placing a spell over the land of Hyrule. The monarch's magic ensured that a crest would appear upon a worthy person who had been properly raised once they had reached a certain age and gained enough experience. Though the prince and young princess were already heirs to the throne, the king of Hyrule had his doubts about the worth and character of his son. Seeing more promise in Princess Zelda, he passed on the Triforce to her in secret. The tragedy of Princess Zelda. Following the king's death, with no crest appearing upon the hand of the prince, the power of the Triforce he had inherited as the new king was incomplete. The king was advised by his closest confidant, a wizard, that Princess Zelda seemed to know what's behind these events. Despite being interrogated by the wizard and her brother the king, Princess Zelda confessed nothing. The wizard lost his temper and threatened to use his magic to cast a spell that would cause the princess to sleep for all eternity, but she stubbornly refused to talk. Once the wizard had finished casting his spell, Princess Zelda crumbled where she stood. That explains why she was sleeping. The wizard, a close confidant to Zelda's elder brother, the king. He dies after using the last of his power to lay a curse upon Princess Zelda. The true nature of the man who stubbornly hones in on the secret of the Triforce is uncertain. However, it is possible that he is an offshoot of Ganon, much like Ganon, or merely one of his followers. So Ganon really made a big statement in this timeline. Well, it's probably because he was successful in taking over the kingdom. If he wasn't, he probably wouldn't have his followers probably would have crumbled, and he wouldn't have much offspring, would he? And we are now in the era of decline. The Legend of Princess Zelda 1. Mad with grief and regretting what she had done, the young king placed his sleeping sister Princess Zelda on an altar on the North Castle, in the hopes that she would someday be revived. To ensure this tragedy should never be forgotten, a custom was established that decreed that every girl born in Hyrule's royal family would be given the name Zelda. The story became the legend of the first Princess Zelda. The king reformed his ways and governed the lands to the best of his ability, but the kingdom continued to fall into decline. Princess Zelda 1. Though the land of Hyrule had seen other princesses bearing the name of Zelda, it was Princess Zelda 1 who inspired the custom of calling every princess by that name. In the eras that follow her tragic fate, the royal family never failed to name their daughters Zelda. I'm glad I read that little thing there, because that was really confusing me. Because I was like, isn't Zelda 1 the Zelda from Skyward Sword? But yeah, now we got a little explanation there. Very good, very good, very good. A kingdom in decline. No one appeared who was able to wield the Triforce. Hyrule divided again and again, continuing to shrink. The proud king of Hyrule had once covered a vast area of land, but the passage of ages saw its decline, and eventually shrank into a single small kingdom. Though the Triforce of Wisdom continued to be handed down from generation to generation, as long as years passed, the existence of the Triforce of Courage and the tragedy of Princess Zelda 1, the first, I should say, were also lost to memory. A map of the Lesser Hyrule. Underground labyrinths dot the regions of Hyrule. To the southeast, the soil is fertile, blanketed by the forests and rivers, where the west holds an expansive graveyard and the lost woods, where the travelers are led astray. In the rugged and mountainous north lies the fortress of the Demon King Ganon. The location of Hyrule's castle is unclear. Wow. I don't know if oh no, this should be Zelda 2's map. I was hoping it was Zelda 1's. That would help me a lot. Stop playing it and all. Still in the era of decline, but now we are on the game surrounding is The Legend of Zelda, the first NES title ever. Secrets passed down the Lesser Kingdom of Hyrule, the creeping hand of evil. There came a day when the demon army led by Demon King Ganon invaded Hyrule and stole away the Triforce of Power. The regaining Princess Zelda divided the Triforce of Wisdom, which was in her possession, into 8 pieces, hiding them in different corners of the kingdom. She secretly ordered her nursemaid Impa to seek out the one with the courage to defeat the Demon King. Ganon, angered by her actions, captured the princess and sent his flowers after Impa. The Demon King Ganon. The Demon King has been defeated countless times by the heroes in the past. He is thought to have been resurrected after many years. Leading a demon army, he invades Lesser Hyrule, seeking the Triforce, no longer bearing any trace of the man known as the Great Thief Ganondorf. He opposes Link in the form of a demonic beast, bereft of intelligence. I guess it means lacking of intelligence. Wow. So, yeah, that explains a lot, really. It's interesting how this timeline had one Ganondorf, or Ganon. I'm wondering if the other two also do. Because I always thought that there's a new male Gerudo born every 100 years. So, every time he wasn't a demonic pig beast and he was Ganondorf, it just meant it was another Gerudo male born. And I guess now it doesn't really make much sense considering a lot of not a lot of Zelda games have Gerudos in them. As far as my knowledge go, there are only Gerudos in Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, but he's probably in a couple more. But I don't know. Who knows? The chance meeting of Impa the nursemaid and Link the boy. Impa continued her desperate flight, but finally found herself surrounded by Ganon's underlings. Just then, a boy named Link appeared. Using his wits to throw Ganon's underlings into confusion, he managed to rescue the nursemaid. Impa explained her circumstances, and Link made a decision to defeat Ganon and rescue Princess Zelda. Impa, Princess Zelda's nursemaid, is descendant from a long line that has served the royal family of Hyrule for generations. Her role is to care for various articles related to the royal family, as well as pass down the kingdom's history and folklore. Her line treasures their heirlooms of the great kings and passes down the tragedy of Princess Zelda I. Link, a young traveler, he encounters Impa while visiting Hyrule. It is thought that he may be a descendant of the Link who defeated Ganon and departed on a journey to continue his training during the era of Light and Dark. So that's interesting. The people of Lesser Hyrule. Surrounded by harsh and abundant nature, the people have taken up residence and live out their day-to-day lives in caves and dwellings under the earth. Likewise, the traders of Hyrule peddle their wares in caves underground, selling a variety of objects. One can also find the springs where fairies reside, which acts place for healing for travelers. Finally! That's not just a stupid game logic thing they did. I finally make sense of that, because I always nitpicked about that in Zelda 1. Why are these stores in caves? Why is everybody in caves? And now it makes sense, because Hyrule is in great decline then. It also explains why rupees are a horrible economic, monetary value. I remember seeing that once actually. Someone actually took the time to calculate the economic growth of a rupee, and it's very, very low. I forgot where I saw it. I just remember it perked my curiosity, and it was kind of funny. Era of Decline, and we're still in The Legend of Zelda. Seeking the 8 shards of the Triforce. Link, after much suffering, managed to locate the 8 dungeons, collect the shards of the Triforce from within them, and complete the Triforce of Wisdom. The 8 dungeons. The 8 labyrinthine dungeons are shaped like and named after the eagle, the moon, the manji, the snake, the lizard, the dragon, the demon, and the lion. Impa teaches Link that there are approximate shapes within each labyrinth. He is able to obtain a more detailed map. So that explains. I'm assuming the manji is the Indian symbol of peace. I'm assuming, because there's a lot of controversy with Zelda 1 because there is when you get a full map to one of the dungeons, I don't know which one exactly, but it looked like a swastika. But in Nintendo's defense, Hitler made that symbol famous, but that wasn't the original use of the symbol, the swastika. Originally, it was from India, and it was a symbol of referring to peace and virtue. But they got away with it. I never heard anything about that afterwards. The Triforce of Wisdom. Using the power of the Triforce of Wisdom, Link crushed the Demon King and saved Princess Zelda. Thus, the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Power were restored, and for a brief time, peace was restored to the Kingdom of Hyrule. Rescuing the Princess Zelda. Zelda was imprisoned in the depths of a dungeon prior to Link's life or death struggle with Ganon. Link beats back the flames surrounding the princess with his sword and manages to free her. Okay, we're now back in the adventure of Link, which is, I hope they explain that. Let me see something. I might have read that wrong. No, the adventure of Link. Huh. Interesting. I hope they have an explanation for this, because it's weird to jump from one game, go to another one, and go back to the other one before it. The destruction of Hyrule. Even after defeating Ganon, Link remained in the kingdom and lent a hand to the reconstruction efforts. However, This was all for naught, as the land of Hyrule was again laid to waste by Ganon's underlings in a plot to resurrect him. Right, that is part of Zelda 2. The Adventure of Link. I guess they put this part as the Adventure of Link because it explains something. I honestly don't know. Let's keep reading. I don't know. The mark of the crest that appears on Link. 6 years after the suppression of the Demon King, a mark resembling the crest of the royal family suddenly surfaced on the back of the left hand of Link. Now 16 years old, Link concerned passed on his information of Impa. Surprised and flustered, she brought Link to the North Castle. Oh, okay, I guess Zelda 2... I never played Zelda 2, I'll say that right now. But I'm guessing that the beginning is just explaining the story of Zelda 2 that happened before Zelda 1, if that makes sense. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Because it does make sense. It does make a good cohesion, the way the story is being told here. So, there must be some sort of opening thing to it that explains it. Because Link in Zelda 2 is 16, and he's aging here, but in Zelda 1 he's a boy. So, it does make sense, because in this instance, this is the same Link. So, that does make sense. That does make sense. I'll go with that. I will defend this. Huh. Interesting. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I'm trying to figure this out. Zelda the First is on... Let me read this. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure this out. Let me read this. It'll explain. I'm sure it will. But I'm sure that's it. Yeah, Zelda 2 in the beginning just explains the story. And then the events of Zelda 1 happen. There's probably another Zelda because she's a girl. I don't know. 6 years after... Yeah, I read that. Link, now 16 years old, passed on the information to Impa. Surprised and flustered, she brought Link to the northern castle. So, Impa saw that Link possesses the Triforce of Courage, which can restore Hyrule again. Princess Zelda I asleep on the altar. Link and Impa arrived before an unopened chamber in the North Castle. Link pressed his crest against the door and opened it with a clatter. The room within contained an altar, upon which a beautiful girl lay. The sleeping girl was Princess Zelda I, who had been cursed to slumber for all eternity. The unknown chamber. The unopened chamber. Only the chosen one capable of wielding the Triforce can open it. The means of entry is secret to everyone but Impa's line. The scroll of the royal family. Left by the kingdom of Hyrule after his passing, the scroll was handed down by Impa's line. Despite being written in completely unfamiliar script, Link is able to read the scroll as though it speaks to him. Unraveling the history of Hyrule. Impa recounted to Link the story of Princess Zelda I and entrusted him with 6 crystals and a scroll bearing the crest of the Hyrule's royal family. The setting of the Adventure of Link. Link's adventure does not take place in Hyrule alone, and its travels bring him to 2 vast continents. The North Castle lies in the northeast, with the Death Mountain, once lair of the Ganon, to the southwest. Many years after they sealed away the demonic thief Ganondorf, sages live on the names of towns Rauru Ruto, Saria, Naburo, and Darunia. Wow. Oh, I never noticed that. That's so cool. The names of the towns in Zelda 2 are a few of the sages. And, yeah, I see the map here. This is definitely Zelda 2. It has to be. And then the map here. This should be Zelda, definitely, yeah. I don't see why not. Yeah, there's level 5. Yeah, there's the dead Deku tree. Okay. Alright, so yeah. This just explains the story behind Princess Zelda I. And then Zelda 1 happens. And this is... let's see. But why is Zelda awake in Zelda 1? Maybe she's not? It's confusing. The reigning Princess Zelda. Ah, the reigning Princess Zelda. Okay, it's a different Princess Zelda. And since Zelda's sleeping for all eternity, I get it. Okay, I get it, people. Sorry for wasting most of your time with this. Alright, Link's determination. Recording on the scroll was the location of the Triforce of Courage. Impa appealed to Link, asking him to complete the Triforce and save Princess Zelda I. Link had made his decision. He set out on his own, heading for the palaces. The 6 palaces. These palaces serve as a barrier to the Great Palace, in which the Triforce of Courage is hidden. Guardian deities are placed at their entrances to defend them against outside invaders. Only one who is worthy will be able to defeat them and dispel the barrier. The 6 palaces and the Great Palace at Death Mountain. Inserting the 6 crystals he had received from Impa into stone statues located deep within the palaces dotting Hyrule, Link dispelled the barrier in the Valley of Death and opened the path to the Great Palace. After achieving victory against the guardian deity that lay in wait for him within the Great Palace, the hero continued to deeper within. In the first trial, Link was attacked by his own shadow, but he managed to defeat it in a battle of life and death. Peace in Hyrule. Link have obtained the Triforce of Courage, used the Triforce's power to awaken Princess Zelda I from her slumber. He thus prevented Ganon's resurrection and restored peace to the land of Hyrule. The Great Palace. A place located in the Valley of Death, deep within the mountains of eastern Hyrule. The first guardian deity, Thunderbird, protects the Triforce of Courage. Link's Shadow. Okay, good, this is what I want to know about because I didn't mention it in the main thing. A black shadow whose shape is identical to Link. Once a traveler reaches the depths of the Great Palace, the creature oozes out of their shadow and attacks, serving as a final trial. Like Link, it uses as a sword and shield, jumping at will. The power of the gods have been restored to Hyrule through the courage of a young boy. Did generations past full of peace and light of prosperity? Or did the curtain rise on an age of darkness when people quarreled in their search for power? The future of this timeline has yet to be unraveled. So they're probably going to expand on that. That probably means they want to expand on the hero's decline timeline. And I don't blame them at all. I don't. And that ends this episode, people. Yeah. Next time we're gonna look at the branch, the Twilight Realm, and the legacy of the hero, which is when the child Link is successful. Where Link is successful in defeating Ganondorf, and Link gets to go back to being a kid again after the events of Ocarina of Time. Very good, very good. So I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and yeah. Bye.